Hi everyone, Father Scott Vanderveer here, coming to you on an Advent day when I'd like to chat with you for a few moments about how you are doing at living into that beautiful passage from Isaiah that we often hear this time of year, about the lion laying down with the lamb, the wolf and the zebra hanging out together, a little child being able to play with scorpions and vipers and nothing bad happening. How can we live in that kind of harmony, that kind of vision? A lot of folks have commented on the challenge of getting together with family this time of year, and we've just completed Thanksgiving, and now we're on to Christmas. And because of the pandemic, we have no idea what that will look like. But to prepare for that, I had made a little snippet about preparing for conflict and how to hold yourself in a dignified and faith-filled way when you are likely to come in contact with someone who is going to disagree with you and want to debate about it. And some people have shared with me that the few things that we talked about there were very helpful, but that they didn't do all of the work that was needed, because some people have very divided family situations or friend groups, and they needed a little more than just some of the advice that was contained in that video. By the way, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can go to the Father Scott Vanderveer YouTube channel and look at that Preparing for Conflict video. But here are a couple of other things that might help us take it just one step further. One of the things that is usually helpful when you are trying to avoid conflict and someone else is in the midst of it is to talk as little as possible, to mostly listen, and to actively listen, to look them in the eye and say, I hear you. There is an acronym that is used in the 12 steps. The acronym WAIT, W-A-I-T. You're supposed to ask yourself in a conflict, wait, and WAIT stands for, why am I talking? Wait, why am I talking? Should I be talking right now? Or perhaps, maybe I shouldn't be. The other axiom that comes to mind that is another gem from the 12 steps is, I once heard someone say, you don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. You could be invited to a fight right there at the table with a family member, or right there at the football game in front of the television with everybody listening, and you don't have to attend. You don't have to attend that fight. You're not required to be there. Instead, you can listen. Now, one of the things that can be a very helpful thing to say verbally, both for them and for you, when the pressure is getting ratcheted up, when tensions are getting higher, is to be able to say, you raise some valid concerns. That's a valid concern you're raising. You're raising some valid concerns. Now, what we normally do is then say, but I think you're ignoring blah, blah, blah. I think the better way to approach it is to simply say, you raise some valid concerns. And there's two benefits to that. Benefit number one is the person feels validated. You're saying, what you're saying is a valid concern. Maybe it's not the same concern that you have. Maybe it is the other side of an issue that you feel differently about. But they're not crazy for being concerned about what they're sharing. You raise some valid concerns is a respectful, thoughtful way to speak to someone who's sharing how they feel. The other thing it does is reminds you, if I were in their shoes, I would be feeling the way that they do. I am feeling my particular way because of my circumstance and who I am and how I was raised and all of those things. Now, this gets a little trickier when you were raised in the same house as the person who's in conflict with you. But let's face it, we're all different. We come out of the womb different, and then we have all these different experiences that shape our lives. I spend a lot of time with families. I've never seen two siblings that were exactly the same, even if they're identical twins. Something that people have been asking me quite a bit about this year is, what do I do if they just won't stop? What do I do if it is relentless and they will not be satisfied with me saying, you raised some valid concerns? Well, then what do you have to say about it? Then how could you be the way you are or disagree if those are valid concerns, if they are just relentless, as the person said? Well, there is not one thing wrong with having a boundary beyond which you won't go. That doesn't mean you have to be disagreeable or cruel or vulgar or aggressive. One of the things that effective parents and teachers both know is that you don't get your point across by raising your voice. You get your point across by lowering your voice. So if someone at the table or in the living room is getting loud with you, you can simply say, I don't wish to talk about this now. I don't wish to talk about this anymore. I don't wish to have this conversation now. That is a very appropriate thing to say. And if they say, well, I do, there's no response that you need to have to that. You don't need to have a response to that. They want to, you don't, so don't. Right. They can't make you be there. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. So having that phrase handy is really good. I don't wish to discuss this right now. And I think the use of the word wish is important. It's different than the word want. I don't want to discuss this now sounds different, has a different tone and quality than I don't wish to discuss this now. One of my mentors, I noticed, was using the word wish a lot instead of want. And I asked her about it, wondering if it was intentional, and of course it was. And we talked about the difference between wishing something and wanting something. A wish expresses a hope, an intention, a goal, an aim. Those are all really noble things. Wanting has a lot of grasping in it. You know, babies want things. Little children learn the word want. I don't want to early. And I think that it carries that kind of charge to it. I don't want to, or I want. It seems really self-centered and grabby. It's got a grasp to it. Whereas wishing is something that we do when it's a birthday and we have a lofty goal, a true hope that we're aspiring to fulfill. So saying, I don't wish to talk about this now, already carries within it a kind of nobility that signals to the other person, it's time to rise ourselves to this level of nobility. And one of the goals in conflict is always to give the other side an out so that there could be a handshake at the end, so that it doesn't turn into the Christmas that so-and-so stopped talking to so-and-so, and then the whole family had to deal with that fallout for another decade. If you just say, I don't wish to talk about this right now, there's no reason that you couldn't show love to that person as they leave. Give them a little Tupperware container with ambrosia in it and send them off into the night. You don't have to have that kind of jarring end where the last word said is, well, then that's it then. We don't need to go there. We can simply say, you raised some valid concerns, and I don't wish to talk about this right now. How beautiful. Giving them a gracious out. Giving them validation while not betraying yourself. And asking yourself, wait, W-A-I-T, why am I talking? Did I just get lured into this? Did I just get tricked into biting the hook, taking the bait? Nope. I'm not going to attend every fight I'm invited to. Nope. Sorry. I just RSVP'd. No, can't be there. It can be a wonderful thing when people who disagree with one another learn how to be together in the disagreement and in the deeper shared connection that we have with each other. May this Advent be a time of reawakening to that vision that God gives us through the prophet Isaiah. And may each day of this Advent season be a blessing for you and for us all.